Hello class, in Chapter 2 you explored some of the major ethical systems. Remember, ethical systems are derived from ordered principles that define for each of us what is right or good, wrong or bad. Since we can't rely on our common cultural background experiences from which most of our principles flow from our early socialization years, we may view decisions as individuals as a series of conflicting and competing principles. Take, for instance, the scenario where the police officer makes a decision to arrest or not arrest their father for drunk driving. The outcome of the officer's decision may be driven by the belief that duty outweighs personal responsibility to care for a parent, as described in the textbook under Ethics of Care. As we will see later, such conflict can be resolved when we introduce the concept of discretion into the decision-making process. As you also discovered in Chapter 2, each of the ethical systems discussed answers the question, what is good, but in different ways. Sometimes the same conclusion to an ethical dilemma can be reached by using several different ethical systems. However, using different ethical systems can oftentimes result in contradictory answers to the determination of the goodness of an act. As you have personally experienced through answering the ethical dilemma questions thus far, ethical systems are far more complex to apply than to explain or understand. For instance, utilitarianism is fairly easy to understand, but the measurement of utility for any given act is often difficult to evaluate. Ethical formalism says to do one's duty, as in the scenario about the officer arresting his father, but it does not help us with conflicting principles of duty versus ethics of care. While the ethics of care emphasizes valuing relationships, it is vague in providing steps necessary to resolve ethical dilemmas. The concept of situational ethics, or relativism, may or may not help to reconcile the question as to whether ethics are ultimately relativistic or universal, since they set up an age-old conflict between absolutists and relativists. You can read more about this in your textbook. Now, if you are confused, that's okay. We will work through these concepts and see how they apply to criminal justice decision-making in the remaining weeks ahead. In the meantime, continue working on your assignments in week 4. All of you keep up the good work. Talk to you soon.